Okay, looks like we're back. Getting ready. I won't play the whole Apple Dream again. Sometimes I play the last break to get into them. Well, maybe it will, because I might want to respond to it in some way. Because last time I let Alex listen to it, so I really didn't hear it. But it's the one where like animals get squished or whatever. So let's just go. And I'm back. It's now Sunday, May 31st, just after 19 UTC as I'm recording this. And here goes another segment. I had promised I would talk a little bit about get rich quick schemes. And I realized that may in turn move on to other things. And then I'll do like newsy stuff at the end. And I realize there's another thing to talk about. There's some primaries still going on and stuff like that. So I add that to my topic along with Trump court losses and Iran and all this kind of stuff. We'll see. And depending on how it goes, like maybe I don't know. I'll do one segment. I'll do two. I don't know. It depends what I feel like and how long I manage to go on get rich quick schemes. Anyway, look, here's what triggered this. So, look, bottom line, I'm currently unemployed. I'm currently not bringing income into the household. We've got a bunch in the retirement account, which we would rather not dip into, but we're probably going to. And, you know, and I've done sort of the calculations of like, how long can I make that retirement go if that's the only thing we have to live for? And the bottom live for, if that's the only thing that's coming in, other than my wife's income, of course. And what would the gap be, and how long would that last? All that kind of stuff. And bottom line, it depends really, really highly on how my old company stock goes, or if I diversify that, how the market goes more generally. Um, but the bottom line is, unless you go in a super optimistic scenario, it's not enough to last for my expected lifetime. Okay. It'll last a while in the sort of average-ish scenario, but not anywhere near as long as I would like it to. And in the worst case scenario, we have a major market downturn and it stays bad for a while. It won't last all that long at all. But so there's a gap. And it's not necessarily like I have to reproduce the income I had before I was laid off. That would be nice, of course. But we can probably make it work with less than that. Um, and, so how do you fill the gap? So, of course, on things like TikTok and such, you know, they are really good at sensing this kind of stuff because you spend just a little bit longer at things. So I've been getting a lot more TikToks lately on like super crazy investment strategies that are like super, super risky and stuff. And I've been getting more on like, get rich quick schemes because, I stop for a second at those and say, hey, is this one actually like viable? Could I do this? Is it true that I could make like however many huge amounts of money off ever? And hey, that would make everything work well. Um, and so I've been getting more of these. And of course, almost all of these are absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Um, but one in particular, like, really rubbed me the wrong way. Because it was not only ridiculous in a way that would, like, just not work and flat on its face, or it wasn't ridiculous in the this is super risky and you're far more likely to just lose all your money than to actually make anything. Now, this was let me describe the scheme to you and tell me if you understand why this rubbed me the wrong way. Okay, so it was basically faceless YouTube channels. Okay, and basically the idea of a faceless YouTube channel, if you're not familiar with this idea, is it's a YouTube channel where it's not like, right now, as I'm recording this for the podcast, it's also live streaming on YouTube. It's got my face. It's got, I'm talking to the camera. You can see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about get schemes right now, whatever, right? You know, but a faceless YouTube channel is, instead of that, you have graphics or words. It's usually some sort of animated thing. And hold on. It's usually some sort of animated thing, and they can be done at various, there's some that are really awesome. They're good faceless YouTube channels that I watch, that I see on a regular basis, that have educational content or whatever. And, it's got a narrator, and there's animations describing what's going on, and, you learn something. And, there's some of these that are higher effort and some of these that are lower effort. And, look, I've even, like, and there's another variety of them that is like, 5 hours of calming sounds. Yvonne and I have talked about this before. There's ones that are just like white noise. And these things get millions of views because people, want, they put on something calming in the background. And there's a variety of these. You have a forest, and here's a stream. They have one made specifically for dogs that has things that would be interesting for dogs. They've got ones for cats. They've got, and there was one that was really popular for a while that was like for people studying. It was just an animation of a girl sitting at a desk studying for hours and hours and hours and hours. It was an infinite thing, actually. I think it was procedurally generated, and every once in a while she'd wiggle, every once in a while she'd get up, she'd do something with her pencil, she'd look at the screen, and there was just sort of background music going behind it. And, also millions of views. Whoever came up with this first is making money, right? They and then, of course, once somebody does it, everybody imitates it, blah, blah, blah. And the market gets saturated. And then, whoever's the 100th person to do this doesn't make any money at all. And I thought at one point, hey, a relaxing thing that I've sometimes done when Alex makes me like play Minecraft or whatever. Sometimes I want to just get into a relaxing zone and just dig a tunnel. Just go straight through the mountain and dig a tunnel. And I find it relaxing and calming and whatever. And I'm like, hey, you could do a video of this. I made one. I put it on my personal channel. It's got like 2 views or something. Like a tiny, tiny view. No one came to watch my calm tunnel mining video. And I accidentally left my sound on so you could hear me in the background talking a little bit. I didn't do it well. I didn't do it like, in a way that would be particularly compelling. Alex laughs at me because I messed up a few times in it, and whatever. Anyway, the point is, there are ones of these that are cool, and so every once in a while somebody comes up with a new idea. And so there's a whole genre of these get rich quick videos now on TikTok with people talking how to make these headless YouTube channels. And of course, nowadays, it's mostly about how to make AI make faceless YouTube channel for you, so that you just give it some prompts and have it make the videos, wire it up to automatically upload them every few hours or whatever. You just generate thousands of videos. You can see this is bugging me already, because this is just complete garbage slop. But let me go one step further. The one that really got my hackles up was one that started with, go find a popular YouTube kids channel that has millions of views already. And the video used as an example, Cocomelon. Any of you who don't have small kids may or may not know, Cocomelon is a large international brand. They make, these animated videos of like, you know, they sing. They have like small baby to toddler sized kids are in the videos, and they learn a couple things. They are not like, if I had to rate all of the different possible kids shows aimed at really small kids, Cocomelon would not necessarily be at the top of my list. However, it's real. I should confirm it's real before I go on. Um, but Coco Melon. Let me look them up. There's the YouTube. There's the thing. Let's see. Let's look up their Wikipedia. Who are they? Cocomelon is a children's YouTube channel operated by the Candle Media-owned Moonbug Entertainment. Channel specializes in 3D animation videos of nursery rhymes and children's songs. As of April 2026, it's the third most subscribed and second most viewed channel on YouTube, with over 200 million subscribers and 220 billion views. The channel launched in September 2006 and was rebranded as Cocomelon in 2018. It's expanded globally in multiple languages with spin-off series, Netflix TV shows, merchandising, special events, ongoing product diversification. It was purchased by Candle Media in 2021 for $3 billion. A movie about Cocomelon's characters is scheduled to hit theaters in February 2027. Okay. And yes, like, early on, it was created by a single individual as a hobby with his wife, sharing animations that their own kids enjoyed. Again, reading from Wikipedia here. They uploaded, the alphabet song a couple times with little animations, then, more, and then it grew. Okay. It grew and expanded. People found it. People liked it. They right time to do that with an audience that, look, if you've ever had a toddler, you understand that putting on something like this can give you some needed breaks. And they love it. And in the best case scenarios, these things are actually educational. You teach them the alphabet, you teach them numbers. As they grow, they're different channels that hit different ages. Anyway, the point is, there is somebody actually thinking about and creating these and making sure they make sense. And some of these, look, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily put Cocomelon at the top of the list in terms of making sure it's really sort of pedagogically perfect and is taking advantage of the latest research and all that. No, it's making some money. And apparently, look, I'm scrolling down on a Wikipedia page. Psychologist Mark Travers cited Cocomelon as an example of a children's TV show that may hinder young children's mental development due to its frantic pacing and overstimulating visuals. New York Times has discussed Cocomelon's focus on maintaining children's attention. A media researcher who runs the Babylon Research Facility was quoted as saying that the effect of screen on child development is a big question without clear answers. Okay, yeah. Okay, fine. So the point is, this can be done, whether Cocomelon is doing it or not. It can be done thoughtfully and considerately, with thinking about what you're putting in front of the kids, whatever. And this applies to other human-based channels, okay? Like, where they let me finish what they're doing with it. So basically, they describe an AI workflow where you pick a high-ranking children's channel, like CoComelon or hundreds of others, and you first point an AI at it to look at the transcripts, shots, maybe some video, depending on the AI you're throwing at it, and use it to make a prompt describing those videos. And then you set up another AI to just start generating videos based on that prompt. So what you end up with is an imitation of the channel that you are using as a source. Except I guarantee you it's going to be ridiculous. Knowing the way AI works, for instance, you do one with the alphabet, it might not even get the alphabet wrong. Right. There may be letters that don't exist. They'll sing and look, AI is getting better and better. Yeah, there's a chance some of these may actually meet the sniff test if you look at them later, right? But fundamentally, your whole thing here, and then they go on about how you set up just post incessantly, just fill the zone with these videos. They'll have a whole bunch, and even if some of them, on an aggregate basis, you're going to start getting lots of views. And of course, they make claims of I did that and I was making $10,000 a month within a week or whatever, some exaggerated bullshit thing. And again, maybe the first people to do this kind of thing might have scammed the system that way for a while. After that, though, as soon as a whole bunch of people are trying, it's going to be absolutely saturated. Nobody's going to make a damn penny off it. But regardless, you are starting this whole concept with, how can I find somebody who's already making some money off this kind of content and make a low quality, low effort imitation of it and scam some people into watching it because maybe they think it's the other thing. Or maybe they just don't care. And then make some cash off that. And the end result of this is just completely flooding the market with absolute crap. Okay, I understand the people doing this, it is a get rich quick scheme. The motivation is just, I want to do something low effort that brings in cash. Period, end of story. And look, I understand. I would like something low effort that brings in cash. That sounds cool to me. But fundamentally here, look, if you really, I don't know, it pisses me off, when the initial motivation from jump is, let me do something low effort to make money. And God, I mean, on the one hand, I understand. But even CoComelon here, how was it started? The parents wanted to make videos to entertain their children. And they apparently had some of the right skill set, so they made some videos. And they put them online. And they entertained their children. And then they found out, hey, other kids like this too. So we'll make more of them. And eventually it became a business. And they started making money off it. But they started with, hey, what's a need out there that we can potentially fill? And ideally fill in a way that's different than what's already out there. And then, hey, we found a niche. We can make some money off this. Awesome. I'm not saying everybody should be nonprofit. I'm not saying everybody should be only motivated by the good of humanity or anything like that. But, starting with, there's a need out there and maybe I can fill it, seems like the right place to start. Otherwise, this is just a grift. This is just a scam. This is just, you know, you're and it just annoyed me seeing this because look, if you're the first person to figure out, hey, I can make an animation of a picture of a person studying at their desk and rig it up so it's automated and it's never the same twice and it just runs 24/7 and there are people out there who will watch it because it helps them study. Good on you. You made tons of money off that idea and people like it and awesome. But if you are the person who says, "Oh, someone made that thing, I can do the same thing," and I'm going to throw that up and be the 400th person making something like that, and I'm not going to differentiate it in any way. I'm not going to put any additional thought into it. I'm not going to make it better. I'm just going to tell an AI, copy this thing and do it again and put it up there and hope for the best. I don't know that I have a lot of respect for that. And again, it might work the first 2 or 3 times. I'm not saying it won't if you're early to the game. If you're late to the game, I don't see how it can possibly. Because once there are thousands of these things out there, and one of them has a reputation as being the original, I don't see how that thousandth one is actually going to do all that well. But it just seems scummy from top to bottom. And look, I recognize lots of people make money in scummy ways. Fine. And if there's one that's truly harmless, okay, I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm not saying I'm above like some of these things, but if you're doing something that just appears to be a complete and total ripoff of somebody else's creativity and hard work, and you're just trying to surf on that for the crumbs, I don't know. And the thing with people have always done this, of course, and people have always and in some product areas, hey, there's a really high quality product out there. I'm gonna make the rip-off low quality version that is much more affordable. And so people will buy mine because it's good enough and you don't need the premium product all the time. Okay, well-worn business. And even these sort of creative things on like YouTube and stuff where you get the imitators coming in after the original, it's happened since the very beginning. But until more recently, well, I should. AI has made this much easier, much faster. The tools have been improving all along, right? So you always expect the person who come in, months later, year later, can do something easier than the first person who did it. That tends to be a trend almost all the time. But right now, it's the bar to doing this kind of stuff has apparently dropped significantly. I have not tried making one of these faceless YouTube channels in a completely automated AI enhanced way. Maybe I should. Maybe I should give up all my scruples on this and just say, let's make a new kids video channel, imitations, AI generated animations, whatever. I mean, the AI is getting much, much, much better at doing this kind of thing. And maybe I'm being dumb by, this is morally bad, whatever. No. But still think that, and look, I am not opposed to using AI to help you do things. The open letter thing, I mean, I had the idea, but I'm using AI assistants for all the coding, for all the actual building. Like, I have the concept, I have the idea, I have requirements, I have what I want it to do, but it's doing the building. but it is not doing coming up with the idea thing. I am not copying the idea from somebody else and saying clone it. I'm that original part. Like again, AI. I am not an AI hater. AI can be incredibly useful. I even frankly, I mean, some people get really turned off by using AI in creative pursuits at all, like making to make an animation or to do a whatever. I actually have less problem with that, and I understand it was trained by sucking the work of all kinds of real artists. I get it. I get why that's potentially problematic, especially since they have, generally speaking, not been compensated for that. Um, in the case of books, there was actually a settlement and a whole bunch of authors getting paid because their works were, used for training in an unauthorized way. But that still hasn't really happened for visual artists and folks like that, or audio for that matter. There was a the people are making songs this way too. The narration for these automatic videos is completely generated as well. All this stuff. But I think there's like a key element here. There is a difference. Even if you're having like AI make the video for you, there's a difference with having an idea and saying, "Hey, AI, I'd like you to make a video with this topic and this style that has, the characters do these things, and here are a few pieces of dialogue for it," or whatever, than just saying, make a clone of Coco Melon. It I don't know. It bugs me. And that particular get rich quick scheme bugged me a lot. You know, so some of the again, some of them are just like, oh, okay, you try this, it's just 100% gambling. You're gonna lose all your money. You know, there are others where it's just like, oh, this won't work. You can try this, and it's just another one of those pyramid schemes. Like there's a lot of people that's it's like, how do you make money on YouTube? You make a video about how to make money on YouTube, and people repeat. And again, it's one of those things where at a certain point it gets saturated. The first couple people to do it, probably making lots of bank, giving their advice on how to make YouTube tutorials about how to make money. Um, but again, it feels like we're, and maybe at some point you will be able to just walk up to an AI and say, make me a new kids YouTube channel, hit return, and it comes up with something original and brilliant and not like anything else out there, that meets educational standards, that kids love, and maybe even makes you some money. I don't think we're there yet. When we are there, I don't know, maybe I'll have to think through this again. Cuz I think what's bugging me most about this is you are ripping off the original creator, and you are trying to do something that provides zero additional value above and beyond the original. You're just trying to coast on their success and hope that your ripoff is good enough for some people. If you really could do, hey, create something brand new just for me that's 100% original, blah, 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 and the AI does it successfully, and you really are, wow, this is something new, maybe that changes. But at the same time, if AI gets to that point and AI remains cheap enough that almost anybody can do this kind of thing with relatively little outlay, then once again, your market's going to be saturated. You're going to have 18 million identical things, and you're still going to, well, not even if they're all unique and they're not identical, you're going to saturate the market. There's too much. It'll be too spread out, because at that point you might as well just say, if I'm wanting something to watch, I just say, hey, make me something just for me. So why would I go out to the one somebody else had made? I don't know. I'm doing another solo show here. It's been a while since the last time I tried to do one of these with an AI co-host. Maybe next time I should try that again, see if it's improved any since last time we tried it. I mean, in other things, AI has improved greatly. Can it replace Yvonne next time? Last time we tried to, we fed it a whole bunch of transcripts of this show and said, be Yvonne, this conversation, and it failed utterly. Like, yes, it talked to me, but it did not replace Yvonne at all. It basically just echoed back things I was saying to it, and was very agreeable, didn't swear at all, etc. I don't know. And I think this is it reminds me of the Cory Doctorow's enshittification idea applied to companies, but you can see it on platforms as well, because basically, for those of you who are not familiar with the concept, let me bring it up so I can make sure it gets it right. But basically, here's the quote. It was originally posted in November 2022 by Cory Doctorow, and then he spread it in a whole bunch of places. But here's the core paragraph. Here is how platforms die. First, they are good to their users. Then they abuse their users to make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse those business customers to claw back all the value for themselves. Then they die. I call this enshittification, and it is a seemingly inevitable consequence arising from the combination of the ease of changing how a platform allocates value, combined with the nature of a two-sided market where a platform sits between buyers and sellers, hold each other hostage to the other, raking off an ever larger share of the value that passes between them. Now, he used as one of his prototypical examples, my former employer, Amazon. He used a bunch of other examples as well. But I think even beyond like platforms where, like, this happened to email. And it's because and going back, it happened to Usenet, if anybody remembers Usenet. Basically, these things initially were a useful platform for communicating between people, and then they became commercialized, and people were like, ooh, I can make money this way. And then over time, they got more and more dominated by the people trying to make money with the platform. So in the case of email, you got legitimate commercial email, which, okay, there's some place for that. But then it moved beyond, oh, here's your transactional mails, to here's your marketing mail. And then there's the spam. And you have internal corporate email, kind of a different animal. Even that's being replaced by other things. But for like personal home email, oh my God, that's just garbage at this point for almost everything. Um, on Robin Letter right now, the only notifications are email, and I think that's a problem, and I'm gonna have to fix it sooner rather than later. Um, because email is just flooded with stuff you don't really want to see. It's no longer, you know, the place where you go to communicate with people. And I mentioned Usenet. It's showing my age. Old-fashioned, early internet message boards, essentially, where people posted. They also got enshittified the same way, with people overwhelming it with spam and just garbage. Whereas at one point there was interesting, good stuff to read there. There were good discussions. There were things like that. Um, some of that has moved to private mailing lists, but those are less discoverable. Those have issues too. Um, and I think YouTube obviously is a company, and it is set up to make money. So is TikTok. So is all of these places. And frankly, I'll put even like other social Facebook, um, certainly the old Twitter. All of these are places where you start with something that has sort of a good purpose, and then ends up being, as they try to make it so that it's actually a money making endeavor, and they're um, they want to optimize for your attention, and people are in there trying to maximize their audiences, and the users are also trying to figure out how to get an angle on it. um, Maybe not every user, but like certainly the big power users are like, how do I grow an audience? How do I make money off this? How do I do this? And then over time, the content becomes less real and less fun, and it slowly deteriorates. And then some new thing comes up that once again is sort of nice and interesting and small and has some charm to it, and you're getting sort of authentic things that don't seem overproduced, and then the cycle begins again. And I think that the AI is just making this, it just makes it a lot easier to enshitify at scale. And I feel like, we've had recently, these graduation speeches where people have mentioned AI and gotten booed. I think it's only a matter of time until the backlash hits harder. Google shifting from the 10 blue links to more and more AI. I think the AI is going to be very prominent starting tomorrow. Did they say they were starting June 1st? I forget. But they're changing their UI. But there's going to be a thirst for humanity and authenticness that's going to be out there. And I think there are people who are actually going to make nice money from emphasizing, we don't use AI. We're really human. We do this. But, the thing is, I'm not sure that's going to be the mass market. That may be the same kind of thing as the people who are, insistent on, oh, I'm only going to buy local grown produce. Things like that. Because, okay, yeah, there is a market for that. There are people who do that. Um, you know, farmers markets are a thing. Um, and there are people after it. But most people, the vast majority of people, are going to go to their local big box grocery store, national chain, and get whatever's there. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be at a certain known quality bar. Chances are some of the stuff they do to the produce to make it look nicer actually makes it look nicer. You know, same thing with other food products, right? You know, and it may well be that that's the same thing. It's like you know, I want an artisanal TV show that was made by actual human beings, was written by humans, has real actors. Yeah. That's nice, Grandpa. Go pay your 50 times higher amount for that authentic experience. Meanwhile, I'm going to be watching my AI generated slop 24/7 and I'm going to love it. You know? And some of the AI generated slop may not be slop in a few years. It may actually be really good. You know? And again, I feel like there is that difference still between like humans using AI. There was an article that I passed along on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack not that long ago. And of course, now I'm going to have to find it. But it's a movie that's, here we go. Article from the Hollywood Reporter. Tribeca to premiere fully AI generated Iranian resistance movie Dreams of Violets. Live action feature cost $2,000 to make. Used no actors, sets, or cameras in production. As director Ash Kusha insists only AI tools allow this vital memorial film to be made ahead of its June 10th premiere. And this had, as far as I can tell, I mean, it hasn't premiered yet, so I haven't seen a lot of reviews or anything on it. But it had a human being with an idea, a thing he wanted to generate. He's the one who fleshed out what it was going to be and then used AI to generate it. And it's getting premiered at a real standard, like high prestige cinema event, right? Maybe I don't know whether it'll be any good or not. I put it on my list to watch eventually, you know. But the technology is increasing. You know, I think I said on the show a year or two ago that the technology wasn't nearly there yet, but I was sure at some point somebody in Hollywood would be able to like write a single sentence saying, produce a wonderful new romantic comedy that everyone will love. Hit the button, computer chugs for a while, and out comes a fully formed movie that you can't tell was AI generated and, wins an Oscar or something. I don't know. Anyway, Brave New World, as they say. But I think this, at the moment anyway, these kind of people who are like, hey, let's just clone an existing channel. It just really bothered me. It bothered me enough that I apparently have been yammering about it for an entire segment of this show. And before I start repeating myself more, I will close up and we'll do another break. The next break is going to be a wiki of the day. I have not I forgot to grab it before recording this, but because of the miracle of me splitting this recording session up in multiple sessions, I'll just do it before I do my third session. So the next one will be a wiki of the day, and you'll listen to it, and it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. You will learn something Probably. Anyway, for now, I think I'm going to go get myself some food. Go do some other tasks for a while. And I'll come and finish recording later. And I guess since I can't just hit the button to start the thing, I see like I have a little board with some sound effects here. So I'll hit one of these, and then after this, you'll get the break. Here you go. Okay, and with that, I'm hitting stop. Adios.